Well, the market stabilizing somewhat, but gold prices continuing on the rise, hitting a record high this week. Let's bring in Matt Zeman. He's a trader for LaSalle Futures Group, and he joins us now from the CME. Matt, just talk about gold. I mean, obviously we saw the rise when the market plunged on Thursday. Why has it continued?
I think that in general, people are feeling a lot of angst still over the EU, the sovereign debt issue. Even with this huge bailout package reached over the weekend, I think there's a lot of skepticism remaining. Can this actually work? And even with all this money, can these countries actually implement the changes that are going to be necessary to get this problem under control? And I think there's a lot of doubts. So right now, people in general losing faith, not just in the euro, but in all fiat currencies, and they're flocking to hard assets, and gold is obviously the primary candidate for that type of flight to quality buying.
Talk to me a little bit more about your outlook, Matt, on the banks and the banking situation and how that relates to your long position, your long outlook on gold.
Well, I think it's certainly a metal that I'd want to be long. It's really the only metal I'd want to be long at this point. I just think that the way people are scooping it up, it's been a very much a buy the dips type of market. Every time we've seen gold sell off a little bit, we've seen buyers come in swiftly and strong. So definitely something to be long right now, just in case. Gold
has crossed that $1,200 mark. It's held steady there for a few days now. What's the talk on the floor you're hearing, Matt? How long are the positions on gold?
Talk is we could see gold go quite a bit higher. You know, we got through that previous high of 1227-ish yesterday.
Yep.
So I think you're going to have a whole nother round of investors probably jumping on the bandwagon now that it's cleared those highs. And I think that we could actually see a very swift leg higher. We could see 1300 here in the coming weeks.
What about long-term gold at what? Could we see 2000?
I think it's certainly a possibility. I don't think it's something that's right around the corner, but certainly I think looking long-term, as we see more of these debt issues come to the surface, not just in the EU, but around the world,
right.
I think it's a very distinct possibility, yes.
Fair to say now, Matt, that gold's being used simply as an alternative currency for people? I mean, you've talked about your fear of a run on the banks of sorts, so people are flocking to gold. Should they look at this as an alternative currency right now?
I think people definitely are. A run on the banks, we've got problems in Spain, Portugal, stuff like that. So if those countries, if those situations escalate to the next level and we do start to see runs on banks and things like that, I think, gold is going to go through the roof. So I think people are definitely looking at it as an alternative currency at this point.
And you've got the euro at a 14-month low against the dollar. Obviously the flight to quality there. What I think is very interesting to watch, though, you've seen silver rise along with gold. Copper, though. Copper prices are under pressure, obviously having to do with the fears of inflation in China, stagnant growth in China potentially in the future, China being the biggest consumer of copper as their economy, booms, at least for now. What's your copper play?
Well, I think right now we'll see if copper holds the $3 level. I assume that it will. Copper has taken a nasty hit over the last several weeks, and obviously fears of a China hike are just adding fuel to the fire right now. So I'd look for copper to stabilize somewhere around these levels and probably consolidate sideways for the time being.
Looking at interest rates in this country, how would you play gold compared to where they stand now? I mean, we've got exceptionally low rates for now. At some point, the Fed's going to have to increase interest rates. When you look at what that means for gold, how are you playing that card?
I agree with that statement, but at this point, I don't know how much of an effect that's actually going to have on gold prices. I mean, if you look at the gold-dollar relationship, we've seen that relationship basically completely decouple over the last couple of months. So gold has really taken on kind of a mind of its own, and at this point, with all the uncertainty out there, even hiking rates, I don't know if that'll be enough to stop gold to the upside.
Finally, the plays on other metals, looking at zinc, looking at nickel. Are these metals we should be watching closely? All the focus is on gold, a little bit on copper, but not so much on the other metals.
I'm not seeing a whole lot out there right now that's really getting me excited. I think we're going to see probably a year of consolidation, a lot of sideways type action. I think a lot of these markets have probably gotten a little bit ahead of themselves. So probably going to be a pretty boring year in those other base metals.